Do you think he can be a starting QB just in the NFL?
So look at you over here stealing my notes, man.
Yeah.
You're asking me, can he be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Before I get to my answer, y'all let me know in the comment section if y'all think that Mason can be a starting quarterback, just a QB1, not franchise quarterback, not the franchise quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, just QB1. Do you think Mason Rudolph can be QB1 in the NFL? Let us know in the comments. And then also Kareem Rayford, welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Welcome. All right. We're getting the answers coming in. So, because, we can't give our answer just right out the jump. Then it takes me some of the suspense, right?
Let it play out a little bit.
Got to let it cook a little bit. Just let it simmer. We put it on low.
If Danny Dimes could be a starter, so can Mason.
All right, get these comments. Get these comments real quick, man.
Whoa. We got, he could maybe start in Houston. Yeah, so like him versus Tyrod. Is there 2 or 3 quarterbacks? Someone said Tua.
Denver, definitely.
Someone just said Danny Dimes.
He can compete in Denver.
There's probably 4 or 5 teams.
He can compete in Denver,
coming
man.
up for this season.
Yeah.
At least you give him a chance. This is what I said earlier too. I mean, you could give him a chance.
If you're San Fran and you're not going Trey Lance, do you like him over Jimmy G?
Ryan Clark did a couple years ago.
Yeah, he definitely. That made me think of it. I'm like, is that another one that's potentially in the mix there?
Yeah. But I guess since they got Trey Lance, there's no chance of that.
Well, that's what I was saying in general. But like, if you're not going Trey Lance this year, would you have taken
if you're just saying, hey, I'm sitting Lance no matter what, like Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It could be a competition, I guess, maybe. I mean, Garoppolo's obviously had the better NFL success, but Mason does have that unknown factor. And sometimes you like that unknown where it's just like, let's see what he could do. There's a lot of tape out there on Garoppolo. A lot of people are down on him, whereas like the stocks are reversed, in my opinion. Garoppolo definitely has the more productivity. He took the 49ers to a Super Bowl. But based off last season, stocks down a little bit. Mason, definitely less productivity in that 2019 season. Everyone was down on him. But his last 2 games, stocks up a little bit.
Stocks back up. Toxic One North says he thinks that Mason's a top 25 quarterback, and he would take him over like 8 or 9 team starters right now. I mean, we rattled off 4 right there, just spitballing. I'm sure if we dove into it a little bit more.
It's tough because it's just based off those 2 games, which it's hard to say definitively, like Mason over Danny Dimes. But I wouldn't mind seeing a competition. I don't think it'd be disrespectful if you're the Giants and somehow you acquired Mason Rudolph to make that a competition.
What about if you are in Green Bay and no Rodgers and you're looking at Jordan Love, who was your first round draft
I think that'd be a good competition.
I'm not. Yeah, I think that could work.
That'd be fair.
I'm trying to think where else could we see potentially some action like that. And obviously, we're not saying that he's going to be moved or anything like that. We're just spitballing different teams where we think that he could
trying to gauge his value across the league. Yeah.
Let's see. We've talked Detroit, maybe Jared Goff. Well, no, I'd probably go Goff over him. Yeah,
you would, but that's what I'm saying. Like, would it be so disrespectful if we brought him in for a competition?
I don't feel like it would though.
Or at least if you start Goff at the beginning of the season, it's just like this isn't going right. Let's pull Mason middle of the season.
Yeah, because I don't feel like Goff has done it to that extent. I mean, like he has his
same thing with Garoppolo.
But a lot of people was like, is it scheme? Was it McVay? Obviously with Garoppolo, was it the team around him? When you win a playoff game the way that he did, it looks real teamish. It looks real schemish as well. Not Atlanta, no, because they still got Matty Ice down there. New Orleans, though, you got Jameis. Would you have him competition? I feel like if they got Taysom Hill competing with Dago and Jameis,
I think you could. Man. I think Jameis would win that though. I do think
he should.
I think he's going to be pretty solid coming off this year that he was sitting, being in the Saints system like that because he has a ton of talent. Carolina? There's a reason he was the first overall pick.
What about Carolina? Sam Darnold, right?
Oh yeah,
that's
fair. That's fair.
He was somebody that we talked about. Okay, if he came here, what would that look like? So I think that Mason would he could be in that conversation to compete with him in Carolina. And let's see, where else? Is that it? Tennessee, no. Indianapolis, no. Well, nah. Because Wentz will probably win that. Wentz should win that. The healthy Wentz should win it.
Eagles though.
Well, Jalen. They got Jalen out there. And I thought they brought in someone else.
I don't know who they brought in.
Yeah, I thought they brought in someone else as well, but I know Jalen is out there though, so I'm still rolling with Jalen.
Oh, I agree, but actually,
I don't think it's disrespectful though.
That's what I mean, to bring him in case something goes. Right. It almost like the Jared Goff situation up in Detroit.
Yeah,
you just bring him in as backup, but you're a little bit more apt to pull Hurts if something's going wrong in the middle of the season to give Rudolph a chance. So is that where we're at? Where it's like, well, I don't think you could. If you're a team, you wouldn't definitively trade for Mason and say you're QB1.
Yeah,
but you could bring him in and have him compete with like maybe 8 or 9 teams.
Yeah. Now Savage, he brought up this team. He says, "What about the Raiders?"
Oh yeah, I'm not a big fan of Derek Carr.
Yeah, I know you're not.
he puts up the stats, but I'm just not the biggest fan.
But now Ancient says Mason is not better than Wentz. Sorry, he also, and then we also had where is it? Oh man, it moved the screen on me. No. Oh, and here we go. And Ancient also says that Mason is definitely not better than Dalton either. Now I agree. I think Andy Dalton doesn't get the respect because he played in Cincinnati. Andy Dalton's a good quarterback. He's just not a great quarterback. He's a more consistent Kirk Cousins to me. Like Kirk Cousins, he's going to give you some crazy productivity, then he's going to have some crazy fall offs. I think with Dalton, he just has a high floor, but his ceiling is going to forever be limited. So he's always going to be a good quarterback. We saw the success that he was able to have in terms of Pro Bowls and leading teams to division championships. But whenever he is going to have to go up against those elite quarterbacks when it gets to the postseason, he's always going to struggle because of those limitations. But Dalton's definitely a good quarterback, man. And it hurts me to say that because I don't like him. Not that I don't like him, I just don't like him.
With Mason, though, well, rebuttal to one of those comments is we're not saying he's definitively better than all these quarterbacks. Right. We've such a small sample size from when, I guess, to show that potential that he is good over this past season, because he hasn't played at all. Yeah. So we saw those 2 games and you're just like,
and I'm
wow.
glad you clarified that too, because that is something that always gets lost, right? If we're talking about a player, it's always the assumption that we're saying that if we're speaking of that player positively, is they have to be the guy. We think they're going to be the heir apparent. It's like, we're not saying that. We're just simply just thinking of teams that he could compete on.
What's his value around the league? I think he can compete with 8 or 9 teams, quarterback situations that are out there. Now,
Toxic One North also says Patriots. What about that? Now they got Mac Jones and Cam Newton. Healthy Cam, I'm taking healthy Cam.
And I wouldn't mess with any of these first round quarterbacks. I mean, Mac, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence. That if you're those teams, you just give them the spot. You're not doing this competition stuff.
Absolutely. Now, Bro High brings up a good point here. He says Game 17 Rudolph is better than 2020 Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that's our point. It's just that we're only going off like 2 games with Mason,
whereas the whole season
where you see this upside. Whereas Wentz has had solid seasons in the NFL. Goff has had solid seasons. Garoppolo, but
Pro Bowl seasons for those guys.
Well, I was gonna say, from what we saw in Mason in those 2 games, does that give you hope or the thought that he could surpass those guys throughout his career? Like, could he be better than those guys? That's the main question you're asking.
I think basically we've seen enough of a framework to see, all right, Kirk Cousins, give him Jimmy G, like that vein, and he's worth a chance. He's still young. He's still a young quarterback, still in his rookie contract, essentially. So I would give him a chance. But do I think he's going to morph into franchise quarterback? Right now, I don't think he will. Now, I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he develops into that. But for me right now, I just don't think that he is capable of doing that. I feel like when you talk about the franchise quarterbacks, you always bring up your it factors.
You just know.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, like, you can just see certain players that have it or they don't. I always laugh about it factor because you can't really put a definition on it, but you just feel it. And when you watch Mason, he really hasn't shown that, even in the games where he's played well in that first year starting, because remember, he had some games where he played well. It just was never like
Dolphins, Bengals.
It was never this gaudy performance where we're wowed, but he played well. But I just never felt like if game is on the line and I'm down, I can roll the ball out and I know this guy's going to get
down
it done.
10, double digits.
Like, I just don't, personally, me right now, I don't think he's capable of that. And honestly, if it's 32 teams, 25 of them at least don't have that quarterback either. So it's not a Mason thing. It's a lot of quarterbacks thing. A lot of teams don't have that type of guy. And that's the reason why we call franchise quarterbacks and why they get paid what they get paid. and they are treated the way they're treated. They're rare, very rare. But I just don't think that Mason is in that category right now. Now, hopefully he can develop into that, but I just don't think he is right now. But what say you, man?
About what? If he's a franchise guy, has the it factor? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I think you bring up a good point of like, hey, we're down 10. We just need you to get us the win here. Mm-hmm. Bring us back in this game.
Like, can you make that happen?
But to his defense, the small sample size, he hasn't really had those opportunities. Although the larger sample size was 2019. He played in he started in 8 games, 9 games, played in 10. And we did not really see that in any moments. The Rams game, there might have been I'm trying to remember. There might have been a chance for him to like close out the game, but we relied on the defense.
Yeah, and that was the funny game. I remember that. But that was the rough start to that game too. And Mason honestly played well in that game. But remember, we had the turner, we had the errant snap, and then was it Deontay that fumbled? Because remember, my boy Roby Coleman.
I think James Washington.
That's what it was. Yeah, he had the fumble over there. So it was a lot of little things like that were taking place in that game. But yeah, that probably would have been his closest opportunity.
Well, I will bring up the Browns game. That's the thing. The Jets and the Browns game, he pseudo did that because in the Jets game, we were down with Duck. Yeah. He brought us back. I think we were tied up, but then he unfortunately got hurt. So we didn't get to see that play out. He maybe could have done that in the second half, what we're talking about. And then in the Browns game, we were down in that, and he kind of let us back. I do attribute that to a little bit of, hey, it's 4th down. We're chucking it up to Claypool. Yeah, it was a great pass, but it wasn't those things where he's like dominant, in control.
Gotcha.
I'm just owning the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
We saw glimpses of that, though,
in
those 2 games. But
well, and see, I thought of this, though, right? We talk about in those clutch moments, and he throws it up the Claypool. I agree, but do you remember what happened on the 2-point conversion?
I mean, we didn't get it.
Yeah, and it was like,
didn't Juju drop it?
I don't think it was a drive. It was more so I ain't like the pass. I just remember like the pass. Oh my goodness, if I remember correctly,
wasn't it a quick slant?
Yeah, but it was like it wasn't there though, and he just predetermined that he was gonna throw that ball there. And that was the thing that I remember saying to myself, like, I didn't like the call, but I also really didn't like just the decision to go there. And I remember in the heat of the moment, a lot of us because we were doing a watch party as well, we were just saying like, yo, why would you do that? Like, if you need to pump it, but it wasn't there. It was clear it wasn't there. So that was my only thing with him in terms of just the finishing part. But that goes back to that confidence and the it factor and just being able to find a way. Like, if that's 7, especially vintage 7, we know, man, all right, if it's not there, he will pump that thing. He don't care if he was about to throw it. We've seen him pump fake where it was, you knew he really wanted to throw that ball and he saw the defender at the last second. He's done that. And then from there, he's going to make the play afterwards. Those are the things that the off schedule, the being able to improvise. That's the stuff that I feel like goes heavily into that it factor, that franchise quarterback mode.
Yeah, I'm even just thinking of moments like Ravens game back in like 2010, 2011 playoffs. We were down, I think we were down 21 or something like that, and we come back. Could Mason do that?
Yeah,
that's the question. I don't see it.
And as people were bringing up the Big Ben to Santonio Holmes touchdown throw, they're saying like, is Mason able to do that? And they're also saying was Ben lucky in that.
Oh, come on.
I seen Jim say bad throw, Holmes made a great catch.
Oh my God.
I've seen Ben Bro says Ben is the GOAT. Then I see NSMC says it was the most perfect throw in Super Bowl history. Then I saw somebody, and then Big Kel 6 says it was a terrible pass.
Oh my God. These are terrible takes. That thing was a dime over 3 defenders. People need to watch that last drive because they don't understand what happened when we were on the 10-yard line. We almost got a safety with how bad our line was. And Ben dodged the defenders, got it out to Heath. Yeah, I think actually, they got a flag right off the bat. It was 1st and 20.
Yeah, that's funny.
That drive was incredible. I can't believe that. They got to be trolling me, right? That pass was a dime.